Good morning. We're talking about two hymns this morning, Come Down, O Love Divine, and God is Love, and where true love is, God is there. The first one, chosen by Tad Meyer, one of his favorites and mine too, is to the tune of Down Ampney. This was written by Ralph Vaughan Williams, the famous English composer of the last century. He died in 1958. Down Ampney is the name of his birthplace. It's a little village in England. When you write a hymn tune, you can name it. You can name it anything you want. You can name it a street, you can name it somebody's name, you can name it, they all have names. And this is Down Ampney. Let me play that for you, just so you'll know what we're talking about. Goes into the relative minor key. Now he goes into another key, a sequence. And then we go home in one long last phrase. A great hymn tune of the 20th century. I don't know if it's on your piece of paper, but way down at the bottom right, it says 6611D. That means, that's the metrical description of the poetry. 6 syllables in the first phrase, 6 syllables in the second phrase, then 11 syllables, and then the same thing again, 6, 6, and 11. Twice. D means doubled. So that's how you can move words around to different tunes. So any words that have 6611 will fit to this melody. And he wrote this hymn tune for these words. The matching of this text, Come Down, O Love Divine, and the tune, Down Ampney, is basically all over the English-speaking world. That's the tune. There's nobody sings any other tune to it, unlike many other hymns. The second hymn for discussion this morning is God is Love, and where true love is, God himself is there. From the Latin text, ubi caritas et amor Deus ibi est. This is written with a refrain and then verses. We always sing it with a refrain in unison because there are no chords printed for the singers, and then the verses in harmony, sung by the choir always. It could be sung by two groups, everyone singing the refrain and then a soloist or a small group singing the melody. This is one that we sing quite often here at Trinity-by-the-Cove. I don't know if you can see my hands. This was originally written in the key of D-flat major instead of C major. C major is all the white keys, but it was written in this key, which gives a different feeling to it. Here's my phone. I'm of Norwegian extraction, so that was my Norwegian Viking call. Please excuse that. Remember to turn off your phones, always in church though. Anyway, as I was saying, D-flat. Can you see my hands? It's all these black notes. Very hard transposition. So we'll put it in the key of C. Much easier for everybody. I just want to say something about hymns in general. In my life in the church, I started going to church when I was 2 years old, and I was in the choir when I was 7 years old. I played my first service in a church when I was 13 years old. And so I've been in the church music business as a professional for over 50 years. And the deepest musical and spiritual experiences I've had in church, and I've worked at Washington Cathedral, I spent a year at Canterbury Cathedral and Grace Cathedral in San Francisco. The deepest moments in worship for me have been during hymns. mostly when I wasn't playing them myself, just singing them. So there's something about this communal singing that is so deep. Somebody gave me a copy of the Atlantic, Tad gave me this, How Communal Singing Disappeared from American Life and Why We Should Bring It Back. I just want to close my little bit this morning by a quote from the Earl of Selborne in England. Writing in 1862, he said, "Hymn singing has a stamp of genuineness which cannot be mistaken. It bears witness to the force of a central attraction more powerful than all causes of difference. It binds together times ancient and modern, nations of various race and language, churchmen and nonconformists, churches reformed and unreformed, to a true fundamental unity among good Christians and to a substantial identity in their moral and spiritual experience." So when, let's say, we have lots of Republicans and lots of Democrats singing together, they're breathing together, they're enunciating the same words together rhythmically at the same time, the same ideas, the same thoughts. There's an implied agreement when they're singing. They're conspiring, they're breathing together, as the Latin word. They're spiritual co-conspirators, really. That's why hymn singing is such a deep thing and such a wonderful thing. Okay, now we're all going to sing together the first stanza of "Come Down, O Love Divine" to the tune "Down Ampney." Just a quick little story about Down Ampney. One of my dearest friends was Lloyd Cast, who was the organist of All Saints Cathedral in Albany, New York for many years, had a wonderful men and boys choir. So Lloyd had a little schnauzer which he called Ampney, so that he could say, "Down Ampney." Okay, here we go. Come down, O love divine, seek thou this soul of mine, and visit it with thine own art or glory. O Comforter, draw near, within my heart appear, and kindle it thy holy flame bestowing. Now we're going to sing Ubi Caritas Murray. That's the name of the tune. We'll sing refrain, verse, refrain. I'll play the refrain first. God is love, and where true love is, God himself is there. Here in Christ we gather, love of Christ our calling. Christ our love is with us, gladness be his greeting. Let us fear and love him, holy God eternal, loving him and each of Christ in one another. God is love, and where true love is, God himself is there. Thank you. Next.